and I love notes and everything. I do a lot of Zoom groups and things like that. And so I take a lot of notes, and Mark, my husband, who came here with me, will say, you might not even use your notes. I get up there, I do all these things, and then I end up talking about something totally different. So we'll see. But I just want to welcome everyone. I'm so thrilled to be here, thrilled to be asked to come. I felt moved to come here. You can't say yes to every request. But for some reason, when Andreas asked, I said, yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna go over to the UK. And so I want to talk about Jesus and the rebirth of Christ in ourselves. Jesus is one symbol that the Course uses, along with the Holy Spirit, right? We need a non-ego presence in the dream here to help us home. And we are rebirthing the Christ in ourselves, right? I love the metaphor of the ladder. We seem to be on these bottom rungs of the ladder here, and we're trying to get to the top rungs where we awaken in God and we're fully in heaven again, remembering the kingdom, right? Well, the miracle and forgiveness are the ways that we remember the kingdom according to A Course in Miracles. And we'll get into that. Some of you may know, I mentioned it a little bit yesterday, that my mother was diagnosed with vascular dementia. And my mother has been studying the Course for many, many years, 35 years. And it's been very interesting, you guys, watching her with this journey and the mind. And I was talking about the power of the mind yesterday and the power of belief. So strong. We believe, we are so invested in the ego thought system, right? So I would wake up and she'd be sitting in the living room, and I would just look at her, and she would turn around, she'd say, I just can't remember anything about the world. And I said, well, lucky you. Good for you, Mom. And she'd laugh. She'd laugh. I know Jesus is with me. I can tell. I said, I can tell too, Mom. It's been really interesting watching the machinations of her mind go through this, right? So Jesus and the rebirth of Christ in ourselves, returning to the home we never left. Of course, it's telling us we're not here. We're not. We're having a dream that we're here. The dream seems very, very real, right? Lesson 302, where darkness was, I look upon the light. I love paragraph 2. Our love awaits us as we go to him and walks beside us, showing us the way. He fails in nothing. He the end we seek, and he the means by which we go to him. So we are helped here every step of the way. Kieran J. was talking about the means and the end, right? We're all told, well, we're already home. We are home, right? We just forgot that. We're having a dream of separation here. So some of the questions I get asked most all the years is, well, then what do I do here? I know I'm practicing the lessons. Those are the means. And the 365 daily lessons are fabulous because if we want to follow them, it's letting us apply every lesson to whatever's going on in our circumstances, right? It's still sometimes difficult to do that. And so I wanted to offer a little bit of insight on something that's been incredibly helpful over the years. I want you all to think of the word simultaneously, right? At the same time, simultaneously, okay? The Course is teaching us that the moment we even thought to play with the idea that we could be separate from heaven, in an instant, that thought was corrected. Simultaneously, that was corrected. The atonement principle. When we call on the Holy Spirit, the only answer from the Holy Spirit is, nothing's happened. Right? And so simultaneously, as we go through our days, as we go through our relationships, as we go through, relationships with people, with food, with substances, right? With our jobs, we have so many relationships that as our classroom here, we want to be true to our classroom. And we're taught not to deny the body's experience. It's an unworthy form of denial, Jesus says. But we want to be spiritual, and we want to not focus too much on the body. And this is where simultaneously comes in, right? So I'll give an example of climbing the ladder and being in the happy dream, experiencing the love and forgiveness in your mind while all the ego's antics are going on, right? So since my husband Mark is here, and we're big forgiveness opportunities for each other because we're together all the time, I will use examples of having disagreements, right? Getting in an argument, okay? Simultaneously, as we're discussing something, a thought will pop in, and you all have your own inner teacher and things that work for you. I loose the world from all I thought it was. Oh, I know, but we can't take that flight. I loose the world from all the sun. Oh, but da-na-na-na-na. Watching the body's antics. I'm watching Jackie, and simultaneously, there's the dialogue going on, detached from the body, but the body's doing its thing, and we're talking, and we're making plans for the trip. Going to Manchester? Are we going to London? Are we doing this? Are we doing that? Right? We need to do this. We need to do that. All the while, I loose the world from all I thought it was, remembering where I really am from the detached position. Right? You're detached. What forgiveness and the miracle will do is slowly help you withdraw attention from the ego. It fades to the back in favor of your connection that was never lost. It's always there. Following the Holy Spirit comes more into the forefront, and the investment in the ego and the body fades back through practicing forgiveness, true forgiveness, recognizing I'm not upset for anything Mark is saying. I put him there. Of course we have irritation going, I put it there. I put it there when the one mind made up all the scripts. And I'm in this awareness watching this one script. And because I don't want to take responsibility for the separation from God and choosing individuality over the oneness of heaven, I have to project that out. And so I see it in all these people and situations. But what if we recognized that we always do that, like the Course says, and simultaneously, the next time you are in any type of altercation, and this can be with yourself, by the way, there's no difference between the self-critic and criticizing the self or criticizing anyone else. It's a wonderful ego antic to still think, oh, but I'm the body, I'm one, and oh, but that's my projection, and everything is. So if we don't project onto other people, we're projecting onto ourself. How many people would join me in being self-critical sometimes? Everybody's hand goes up. Because the ego loves it. The ego loves it when we're self-critical. Oh my gosh, there's something wrong with us, right? Nothing's happened. Simultaneously, Mark will tell me, you're just hard on yourself right now. You're kind of being hard on yourself. Right? And I have to remember, oh my gosh, that's right. I loosed the world from all I thought it was. I thought it was important. I thought I had to do this, that, and the other thing. But we don't. Remembering the kingdom is a thought away. It hasn't gone anywhere. It's out of our awareness, right? Forgiveness offers everything I want. Lesson 120, 121 are fantastic. The reason why it does is it absolves you from all guilt. But then the ego says, oh my God, now I feel guilty for not feeling guilty. What's happening to me? I should feel guilty. I should feel guilty. This is happening. Tell you a story. So in 2001 in the United States, 9/11, we had the Twin Towers in New York City fiasco, right? And the level of form, what a disaster. A good friend of mine called me up. I'll never forget it. She said, turn on the television. Turn on the television. I said, I can't. I still had a landline with an answering machine at that time or whatever, and I had picked up her call because she sounded frantic. So I turned on the television screen, and I said to myself, here's simultaneously, guys, okay? Can you believe? Oh my gosh. What? Oh my gosh, is that actually happening? It looks like a backdrop. I know this is part of my dream. Oh my gosh, is this live? No, this is... We're normal in the world, right? Of course, it's not about behavior. It's nothing about behavior. It's not judging you. Which teacher in the mind do you want to follow in the dream? It's the only choice. We're teaching from one of two places all the time. Teaching from the ego thought system, teaching from the Holy Spirit thought system. So this disaster is going on, and in my mind, I understood that this was a dream. I would never say that on the phone, especially in the heat of a crisis like that, with someone who doesn't know anything about A Course in Miracles. We don't want to go and be inappropriate with people, but to give you an example of how far you can come and then feel guilty for not feeling guilty and thinking to yourself, this is really interesting, but I really see this as a dream. Now, I did everything appropriate at that time, which was giving to causes, doing everything again. Jackie, just watching the body, going through the motions, right? We're being appropriate. We're not trying to be spiritual. We're not trying to not be spiritual. We're just recognizing that the power of forgiveness does heal the mind. It takes away these clouds of guilt, and it's hard to imagine that this whole darn thing is our projection. The Course is teaching us an illusion is an illusion is an illusion. There's no order of difficulty in miracles. Although the ego has layers and layers of things that are different, surely a stubbed toe and cancer are different. They are different in form, and we would handle them appropriately. But which teacher will we have in our mind as we're going through those experiences? That is what's really going to help you recognize the power of your own mind to be able to generalize everything, right? And we all want to be helpful in life. We all want to help people and everything. And when we're in our right mind, we're following the Holy Spirit, their inner kindness teacher, You will only be helpful. And the bonus is you don't have to decide what the helping is. When you're in your right mind, that will direct all your functioning. The ego always wants to jump in, and I want to be helpful this way, I want to be helpful in that way, I want to be helpful. Those are all earnest things, those are all good things. But the freedom awaits you. There's one problem and one answer. Let me recognize what the problem is. Let me recognize the problem has already been solved. We switch our internal teacher first with that little willingness. I'm feeling triggered. I'm feeling this. I'm feeling that. There must be another way. Let me tune in first. And then that'll direct all your functioning, right? From there on out. It's very difficult when there are illnesses and things on the level of form. We have all those things, and we need to deal with them. Again, who is going to be the teacher in your mind? So one of the things I get asked about a lot is using magic. Magic in the Course is trying to solve a problem externally when we forget the only problem is in the mind of the dreamer, us, the one mind, right? We forget that. So we want to go back and at first say, yes, the miracle reminds me I'm the dreamer of this dream, not the figure in the dream. But we use a combination of magic in the miracle, and we need to. And when we're on these rungs of the ladder where there's a Jesus and a Jackie and a Holy Spirit, and the top rung, there's no Jesus, there's no Jackie, there's no Holy Spirit, right? We're going to go right up to heaven. The Course says God helps us take the last step, metaphorically. But as far as using magic, I love this quote from the Course. The real purpose of this world is to correct our belief, right? So regarding using magic, all material means that you accept as remedies for bodily ills are restatements of magic principles. This is the first step in believing that the body makes its own illness. It is a second misstep to attempt to heal it through non-creative agents. It does not follow, however, that the use of such agents, medicine, aspirin, etc., for corrective purposes is evil. Sometimes the illness has a sufficiently strong hold over the mind to render a person temporarily inaccessible to the atonement. Okay? This is the story I was hinting about yesterday with my mother. She would forget how many aspirin she was taking, right? Now, we would never deprive her of any aspirin when she was having a serious headache. We'd give her Excedrin and do everything. But we realized that she was doing it as an anticipatory, I don't want to get a headache, and didn't remember. And so we would give her the placebo. And she would say, wow, it's gone. The aspirin worked, right? That's how powerful the mind is. There's nothing wrong with using medicine in the world. Nothing at all, right? Except for as we graduate up the rungs of the ladder and we start to really integrate the practices of forgiveness, we start to recognize I'm not afraid of the power of the mind. And sometimes we won't need to outsource our healing, right? We can do it within. We outsource everything, right? It's not really going anywhere because the world is in the mind, right? But never feel bad, never feel guilty about taking medicine or doing the normal thing in the world. The only thing would be, are you giving it a power it doesn't have? Or, what's our big word, simultaneously? I would wake up and say, oh my gosh, I want to take this aspirin. I know it's going to take my headache out. And simultaneously, I'm laughing, that inner smile going, yep, putting my belief in the aspirin right now. I know it's going to work. And that way you're not furthering the illusion, right? You're being normal. You're not giving something a power that it doesn't have. Just, oh, I'm taking the aspirin, right? Well, an illusion's illusion is illusion. We drink water. We eat food. We breathe. So we take aspirin. We take medication. But it has been a powerful question all these years for people saying, well, I should be able to just do it with my mind, right? Right? That's a natural thought. All there is the mind. The power isn't even in the aspirin because there isn't any aspirin. But the power is your belief in it. Since there is no world, forgiveness asks that we look out in our classroom, whatever is our trigger, that's the clue, that's the red flag that we're in the ego thought system. I can bring it back to the mind. The miracle reminds me, I'm the dreamer of this dream. I can also forgive myself for feeling so guilty that I need to project my guilt out. So now I've used my life as a classroom. The aspirin, I don't need to feel guilty about that. The medication, I just was giving it a power it doesn't have. And the ego was tricking me. I was making that so real instead of taking the darn aspirin, just like I drink water. No one walks around saying it's an illusion. I can't drink water. Right? So we need to treat everything that way. This is how you progress, by not giving externals power that they don't have. Right? It's okay to do all those things. And at some point, you may not need something or whatever. Then you just say, oh, fine. Oh, I don't need. Okay, great. What's for lunch? Okay, I'm going to do this. And the body's doing its thing, right? Your function of forgiveness has nothing to do with you're happy or sad or this or that. These are transitory states of the body we're going to go through. Be normal with it. It's normal to have happy times in the dream, and then it's normal to have sad times in the dream. But what does that have to do with you? You're outside the dream. Your real identity is outside the dream. That's the awareness A Course in Miracles is trying to get us to, right? Detaching from the investment in the body's serial adventures and the story of the body. It doesn't mean you don't enjoy things when enjoyment is called for in the scripts. It doesn't mean that you can't be sad when something happens, right? These are things that the body does. And you're watching these things, right? As your Holy Spirit mind starts taking over, again, less and less the need for outsourcing, the need for the investment to come from without. And you know why we do that? We're so afraid of the power of the mind. We don't want to go back to the mind because the ego, in its ridiculous insanity, in the myth, says that we have killed off God in favor of our individuality. Now, if I go back to the mind, that's a scary place. So I'm not that powerful. I'm not that powerful. It's the aspirin that's doing it. It's this that's doing it. It's them that's to blame. It's not me, right? But the good news is that you start to recognize, but that's not me. I can still have my life here. Instead of furthering illusions, I'm going to wake up from them. And that's a powerful place to be, because you can function in your life under the direction of the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit's direction is always, nothing's happened. But we experience reflections of that here. And the reflection may be you get some guidance on how to handle a problem, right? When are we better problem solvers? When we're not stressed, right? When we're not angry, when we're not in the ego thought system, right? So of course we're going to try to solve our problems in the level of form, the level of the world. Of course we're going to do that. But again, to repeat, who do you want as your inner teacher? Simultaneously, you have an issue going on that you need to address. We all do, all the time, because that ego, relentless, constant, until we start to learn to quiet the mind through whatever means you choose. The Course provides us with 365 daily lessons if we want to do that. I know a lot of people just open the book to a page and they're like, oh, it's exactly what I needed to hear today. Whatever it is, it's your practice. It's between you and Jesus or the Holy Spirit or whoever you're practicing with, right? But my gosh, can life be different when you're in the happy dream of forgiveness, right? Happy dream is always in the mind because there's no world. But again, when are we happiest? When we're not in stress, when we're not in guilt, when we're not in blame, when we're not in judgment, when we're not in victimhood, right? The ever favorite victim-victimizer script of the ego, right? It's so freeing to recognize I can be truly helpful if I let go of how things have to be, right? It has to be this way. Oh, this will be easier. This will be best. Okay. I'm watching that thought simultaneously. Oh, gosh, I loose the world from all I thought it was. I thought it was real. I thought I had to be this way, that way. Oh, comparisons and this and better than and worse than. And oh, my God, it's a diet of exhaustion. Until the more and more we do things that help us be in a calm state, when we're listening to the right mind, we can get a spark, reflection, do anything that keeps the body calm. I love Epsom salt baths. It relaxes my body so much. Mark and I do that, right? Everybody is loved so much. There's so much love. The clouds of guilt cover over, as the Course says, we're awakening to the awareness of love's presence, right? Another thing that's very helpful when you're thinking about simultaneously remembering this is your dream is meeting people where they are. It's so tempting to delve out advice and give spiritual platitudes, and someone's sick and someone says, sickness is a defense against the truth, you know. Probably not coming from the right mind, probably coming from the ego mind. The Course has a wonderful reminder for all of us, guys. From the text chapter 2, we meet people where we are, where they are, right? As we're talking to them, you're talking normally, you're answering questions on the level that they're asking you, right? The value of the atonement does not lie in the matter which it is expressed. In fact, if it's used truly, it will inevitably be expressed in whatever way is most helpful to the receiver. So let's just unpack that real quick. So you're looking to help someone, or you're having a discussion with someone, right? You're hearing a disagreement, or you want to correct, or something's going on, right? When you're in the right mind, you will meet that person exactly the way they need to be met, because you're not the one deciding. The ego's not the one deciding, right? In fact, if the atonement is true, it will inevitably be expressed in whatever way is most helpful to the receiver. This means that a miracle, to attain its full efficacy, right? To be most effective, must be expressed in a language that the recipient can understand without fear. That might be a hug. That might be silent listening. That might be any other way that you would feel inspired to meet that person where they are. Course in Miracles students have an advantage in the way of understanding, wow, this is my dream. And there's a way of looking at the world, and you encounter people in your dream that don't have that awareness. They don't need to have that awareness. There's no one there anyway. But when we're stuck in the ego mind, boy, we forget that, and we forget to just let go and let the miracle be expressed in the best way for the receiver, right? Oh, my father passed away yesterday. I'm so sorry to hear that. Or a hug. Or if they're a long fellow student of A Course in Miracles, they might say something to you like, boy, I know there's no death, but it's really hard. And yes, it would be an invitation to join them there, right? This means that a miracle, to attain its full efficacy, must be expressed in a language that the recipient can understand without fear. This does not necessarily mean that this is the highest level of communication of which he's capable. It does mean, however, that it is the highest level of communication of which he's capable now. The whole aim of the miracle is to raise the level of communication, not to lower it by increasing fear. Guess what? Jesus is doing that for all of us in the Course. Is Jesus coming at us? Is he saying, you can't be doing this way. You should be doing this that way. No, he's just meeting us where we are. Don't we all have an understanding of the Course at different levels? You meet people. There's no right or wrong thing. Look at all the variety of teachers here. You want to call us teachers. I think most of us call ourselves students, but yes, that's the term. But look at all the different perspectives. You latch on to what works for you, and then you let go of the rest. You know, you can hear something so many times, right? And then someone might say it one way, and you go, oh my God, that's it. I got it. Oh my God. Same thing as when you read this book, 1,300 pages of saying the same thing over and over and over again till we get it. But he's gentle with us, so he knows that we can only accept a certain amount of teaching before we get fearful too, right? We kind of vacillate back and forth, and hey, the world can be fun. Here's the key. Don't try to be spiritual, just be normal and enjoy the fun when the fun occurs without judging it. And then when you're sad and being normal with that, right? The ego's not going to get any attention of the dialogue it wants you to have of that's not spiritual, that's not this, or, right, this, that, and the other thing. And I know someone's shaking their head. You can fill in the blanks with the inner dialogue that you have of deciding whether or not I should do something because the world's an illusion, or so-and-so said this, and I'm making it more real because I'm enjoying this. No, you're making it more real by denying how you're really feeling and just letting that play out. What does the body have to do with you? Well, Jesus does say the body's outside of us and is no concern to us, so he doesn't sugarcoat it, right? But he knows, again, that we vacillate back and forth and in and out, and maybe some don't. Maybe you go through periods where you have long periods of peacetime. I'll tell you something. In like 2005, I think, or 6, it doesn't matter, but back in that time frame, I was looking out my living room window, and everything just stopped. And I was just in this you can't even really describe it. I tell this sometimes, not a lot, because it's it's just an experience. But that experience of revelation, when you absolutely know beyond a shadow of a doubt that you're not here, there's no fear, there's no doubt. It's just I don't know what it is. It's just what it is. And I haven't had that experience in that same way since. And it's not necessary to have those experiences. Everybody is on their own path. But what I'm sharing is sometimes you'll have an experience, you'll never be the same after. I could never go fully back after that, getting a taste of that. And the minute I started coming back into this, thinking that I'm here, I was like, oh, no. And there I was back in the body. Oh, no. Oh, it's so fleeting. But that's all I needed, just to know what we're going for. Just to know that. I can live normally and relax. Now, look, I have my moments like everyone else. I'm not suggesting that I don't. It's just that sometimes you get to these plateaus, you can never fully go back. Yeah, we're doing this and that. Anyone have that experience? But you just can't fully go into it. And that happens more and more. Using Jesus as a symbol to rebirth the Christ in ourselves. And that's everything's metaphor. We're home. We know this, right? Intellectually, we've never left. But the process is that we're coming back to our Christ self. And again, we don't have to get stuck on terms. You can call that whatever you want. But being in the kingdom, right? Synonymous with heaven, light, capital L, love, capital L, and we experience the reflections of the kingdom here via forgiveness, which reminds us nothing's happened. Nobody has done anything, not in reality, including your own body that you're critical of. It's not you. And that detachment gets less and less and less, and it becomes easier to make decisions, recognizing my only problem is that I believe in the separation. Oh my God, let me correct that first. We've already awakened, the Course is sharing with us in the text, chapter 12. Awake and remember your purpose, for it is your will to do so. We can't do anything against the will that we have in heaven. Only in our mistaken dreams can we do it. Awake and remember your purpose, for it is your will to do so. What has been accomplished for you must be yours. The world was over long ago. We have to replay and replay and replay the separation and everything here, right? The world was over long ago. Do not let your hatred stand in the way of love, for nothing can withstand the love, capital L, of Christ, all of us, for his Father, or his Father's love for us. So nothing can get in the way of that, really, except in our mistaken dreams, right? So I had a very, very difficult work situation many years ago. Many years ago. I had a very difficult boss. And I went to work and I kept saying to myself, why doesn't he do it this way? Why doesn't he do it? Why does he treat the employee? Why did we go through 20 managers in 1 year? Why do I have to interview them? Why? I was doing the course, well-versed in the course. Yeah, really well-versed. I was so in resentment in trying to make changes externally, right? The moment I let go and really internalize letting things be the way they are, without trying to change things on a screen of a movie you're watching, I was never the same after that when I integrated that. I don't know if anyone has these, but back in that day, a long time ago, they had Course in Miracles, all the lessons written on cards. They're like index cards. And I would take them to work, had those. I would take them to work and, slip them in the drawer and slip them in the desk. And my boss would come at us and I'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm never upset for the reason I think. No, I want to be upset for the reason I think, because then I'm never upset for the reason I think. Okay, lesson 5 goes well with lesson 32. I could see peace instead of this. I don't want to see peace. If we're really honest, whatever level you're at with the Course, if you're really honest, we don't want to see peace. It feels very good to get that punch out every once in a while. I know. Until it comes back and bites you, because there's nothing out there but your own projection. The Course says, what if you recognize this world as an hallucination? What if you recognized you made it up? Pull out the drawer. God, I'm never upset for... Okay. I think my boss is the problem. If I think he's the problem, I made that up. All that imagined guilt must be coming from me. I can recall my projection coming from me, but it's not Jackie. I can forgive myself for dreaming this. I'm forgiving my projected images. I'm forgiving myself for dreaming them. Oh, I join the Holy Spirit in peace. Oh my God, it's a modicum of peace. Shut the drawer. Okay. Right? These processes, however you do it, just whenever you're triggered, doesn't have to be obsessive. Be relaxed about it. Maybe there's a favorite lesson. Maybe it's not a Course in Miracles. There's non-dual teachings, many things that are so helpful in the dream, right? Remember, we're outsourcing. We do that on the lower rungs of the ladder. We outsource our power. What's our word? Simultaneously. While we're doing that, there's a part of us that will say, yeah, I'm doing it. I'm putting my power in this external. It's helping me right now. I guess I'm still afraid of my mind. I'm still afraid of love. I'm still afraid today. It's okay. And you're so light about that. That doesn't further illusion. Forgiveness itself is an illusion. Miracle's an illusion. But it wakes you up. They're the last illusions. So instead of furthering illusion, they wake you up from it. And there's nothing wrong with being serious about the practice and vigilant and things like that, right? It's just that we get too serious and we're right in the ego's hands again. And guess what we do? We make a false idol out of A Course in Miracles. We make a false idol out of the non-dual teachings. We got Course in Miracles is not exempt from being a false idol. And I got to do this. This is the best way, and it's a wonderful way. We're all here. Everybody's meeting. Oh, my goodness, right? But that, too, can fall under the guise of the ego. So again, which teacher do we want to follow in the dream, right? We want to follow the ego, or do we want to follow the Holy Spirit? We're going to have two different experiences, vastly different, right? In my workshop tomorrow, I'm going to do a kind of a wonderful meditation to take you through some exercises for those that feel inspired to come. Take you through some exercises where you can specifically apply these teachings. Plenty of time for Q&A and some fun stuff there. But the experience is where the rubber meets the road, you know? You really, once we have an experience, guys, whatever that is, you can't be the same after that. You can take that with you and say, yes, I feel better when I'm doing this. I feel better. Let me let go of the judgment on myself. Let me relax for a minute. All judgment is self-judgment. All forgiveness is self-forgiveness. There's nothing out there. But while we believe there is, that's where we start. In our classroom of the world, that's where we start with our forgiveness. And what do? We thank our brothers and sisters for those triggers. Be happy they're there. It's a part of your mind. It's a part of the split mind that's being recalled and healed one little fragment at a time, right? We can turn our triggers around into opportunities, right? That's why the Course says nobody goes home alone. You're one with everything. You're one with the world. The world is in your mind, right? So when you choose the ego, you're making that choice for everything the body's eyes are reporting back to you, right? You know, in science classes, growing up, you would drop a blue dye or red dye in a little petri dish or a vial. The whole thing turns red, right? So this is how it is in the mind. You have the hologram of the ego, hatred, sin, guilt, fear. When you're in that mind, it colors everything. Oh, no, but I don't need to forgive this person over here. I mean, it's all them, but oh, no. When you're in the Holy Spirit mind, that colors everything. I want to have a holy relationships. There's one holy relationship between you and your Holy Spirit. You in the right mind. When you're in that mind, all the relationships become holy, right? When you're in the ego mind, everything is colored with that. Sin, guilt, fear, lack, right? So it is something to be aware of. My motto for so many years has been just own your joy. Joy is one of the characteristics of a teacher of God in the Course. It doesn't have anything to do with the world always being joyful. It won't be, but it's not you. The only way anything external can affect you is with your permission, which is your belief in the ego, you believing the separation is real. It's the only way it can affect you. And it affects you because you believe that it does, right? The power of belief, we're back to that. Remembering the kingdom. When we start believing that we can go home, we do. The Course says, right? We have this little willingness. Sometimes it feels like abundant willingness that we have to have. But we need that little willingness just to say, I'm just willing to see this differently. Really think of those words. We hear it all the time. You hear all the Course things, be willing to see it differently. But there's power in that because your mind is powerful. You believe you're here. The mind made up an entire universe of time and space and many bodies and galaxies and ETs and all these things going on in the dream. It can go on and on and on, right? It's fine. Explore it, look at it, do the normal things you do. But what does it have to do with the one who's watching? You're the observer of the dream. To repeat, right? You're watching. There's a screen out there. You're not part of the drama unless you side with the ego, you side with the body you believe you are. It goes hand in hand. And then that's real. And then I have drama until you're over here in the Holy Spirit mind going, oh my gosh, that's right. Oh my God, nothing's happened. Sure seems like something's happened, but nothing's happened. Oh my gosh, what a relief. And it is a relief. You wake up from your nightmares at night, right? In bed, you wake up, you go, oh my God. Right? You can't go back into the dream. You can't go, oh, I'm just going to dive back in there. Where is it? It's gone. Why? Because you made it up. The mind just makes it up. That's why Jesus teaches us. All our time is spent in dreaming. Right? You know, I was many years ago sitting in one of the bedrooms looks out into the dining room. And I looked out and I saw my dining room table for the first time. I flashed out of it and I flashed in. I'm sure people have similar experiences where you literally are in the present. There's no past. There's no remembering. There's no anything. And I kept thinking, God, that's so weird. I just looked at that is my table. And it took me just a couple minutes to get back. It's not important to have those things, but you will get signposts along the way reminding you where you really are and how you really can go through your life being present. It's not boring because you can talk to anyone about anything all the time because it's not you. You're just watching the body in action do its thing. You're off in the observer mind detached. People say, oh, there's just something about that. Oh, gosh, they're so peaceful. I mean, people's defenses are down around you because there's nothing you're trying to get from them. There's nothing because you go, oh, there's no them in your mind. They're not there. It's my mind, right? So are we ready for true joining? Well, we've never left heaven. We're joined as one as Christ. The reflection here of how we can join is always only at the mind level. Bodies don't join. I'm hugging my spouse. Yep, in the dream. It's not there. It's a projection. It's a hallucination. Does that mean we don't hug people? Certainly not. Simultaneously, we might be thinking, oh, this is such a fun part of my dream. But you're recognizing that it's a dream and you're doing whatever bodies do in a dream. This is what, I don't like the term really like speeding up, like there's somewhere to go, but people are often like, it's harder to practice, or how do I know I'm making progress, or why can't I just sit and do whatever? Well, you can do whatever you want to do, but the ego is relentless and will find any way to keep you focused on the body and out of the mind. Because if you change your mind, it's the end of the ego's reign, right? And we stop giving it a power that it doesn't have, right? Vision. Vision is the means by which the Holy Spirit translates your nightmares into happy dreams. Your wild hallucinations that show you all the fearful outcomes of imagined sin into the calm and reassuring sights with which he would replace them. Your nightmares can be replaced by the happy dreams of forgiveness, and all it requires is you saying, oh yeah, choose once again. But it's hard because I want to hold on to my grievance right now. And you know what? I don't even want to do the course right now. I don't want the book. We go through these phases. I know you're nodding your head. We go through it in different ways. You just don't want to do it. That's good. Don't do it. Don't do it. Just be normal and follow. Oh, I don't want to do it right now. It's a transitory mood of the body. Jesus says in the lessons, I forget which ones exactly, but he says, if this is too difficult for you, stop. He's trying to say, if it's too difficult, what is it doing? Making the error real. Because we have to do the course lesson when we're in those moods to do it. We're not always in those moods, but we're in those moods sometimes. I got to do my lesson, or I should be farther. Why is this forgiveness opportunity still coming up? It's another trick of the ego, guys. Do not be fooled by that. It's just more unconscious guilt coming up to be healed, symbolized in the same image you put it on before. That's it. Don't be fooled that you're not making progress. If the same thing comes up over and over again, it is annoying. You forgive people, and then they're annoying you again. You forgive them again, they're annoying you. You are annoying you. Things you're doing. I can't change this habit. I can't change this belief. I can't. Yes, you can. Just relax and say, yeah, must be too fearful today. All right, what's for dinner? Move on. Move on, right? That's what Jesus is telling us to do. He's never judgmental. He's never saying you have to do anything. But the ego loves for us to have to do stuff. And I say this like almost jokingly. There's no shame in any of that. I know you guys know what I'm saying. We all do these things. And then sometimes we'll have a peace time. And we'll be like, gosh, nothing's bothering me for like the longest time. It's so much easier for me to forgive. So wonderful. So enjoy that. And then wham, something might come up. If it does, you know what to do with it. An illusion's an illusion. It's illusion. There's no hierarchy of difficulty in miracles because nothing's happened. It's all the same. It's all your projection. Everything is forgiven in the same way. Right? You really do have the power to do that. Ooh, I'm saving this for my light workshop. In those notes, because we're at time now. But I just wanted to conclude by saying I think that this is a wonderful reflection of the mind's choice for healing and everybody being here. That's the willingness. You can draw from the people that you talk to, not just the people up here, sharing the experiences, taking the things that resonate with you, leaving the rest, being in your own process. The best guide for you is your own internal teacher. And you will outsource to other people. And we all do it. And do it. This is my teacher. I love that. I love that. I don't like that. I don't like that. Do that. And then simultaneously recognize, yeah, but I put all those people there. It's really coming from me. I know this. I'm going to learn it from Jackie, Kieran J, Andreas, Keith, Devavan, Andrea, everybody, right? Leaving people out. Hubert, I'm leaving everybody. I'm going to learn from them, but I know that it's my mind that has made that up. And that's what I'm doing right now. And that's all you do. Good. I'm going to go sit at this lecture and sit at that lecture. Do it, learn, enjoy it, but just don't forget that it's your mind putting it there for you. And when you do that simultaneously, do that more and more, you recognize the top of the ladder. There's no Jesus, there's no Holy Spirit, there's no Jackie, everything is one. But it's a process. I love you. Love yourselves. Thank you so much.